The dome is closed and we're ready for some football. It's the Cowboys and the Dolphins who meet in Arlington, Texas on Thanksgiving. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon in a beautiful afternoon from Arlington for a Week 12 showdown between two of the greatest franchises of all time. The all-time greatest Miami Dolphins visit Dallas to take on the all-time Dallas Cowboys. Loaded with so many Hall of Fame players. One of them is nicknamed Captain Comeback and Captain America in Roger Staubach. A little over 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 9 picks this year. He won the job in the preseason over a very talented Troy Aikman, a Super Bowl MVP. Staubach in the 70s was dominant, won the job, and has not looked back. He shoots it deep on the first play of the game and finds Michael Irvin. Scott makes the stop on a gain of 43. First down, Dallas.
Looks like Jerry Jones closed the shades at Cowboys Stadium so that the glare wouldn't get in Michael Irvin's face. He makes an amazing catch to get it into Miami territory.
Roger Staubach retired in the late 70s with the second highest passer rating in NFL history. A look at his numbers, 11 touchdowns, but 9 interceptions this year. He's got plenty of time to throw it. Shoots it deep to Jason Witten, who's down to the 11, another gain of 25.
You give anybody that much time, I think it was around 3 or 4 seconds, no pressure in his face, and you're going to find anybody. Like, you can find a snail running through the defense with that much time.
The Cowboys anchored by Larry Allen and Rayfield Wright up front, both members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Check down to Smith, who sheds a tackle in the backfield and is hammered just short of the goal line. First and goal, Dallas.
Miami is looking really weak right now on the defensive side of the ball. The Cowboys seem to be getting away with whatever they want to get away with in this game.
Toss to Smith. Touchdown, Dallas. The Cowboys go the length of the field, less than 2 minutes into the game.
Well, it helps a lot that you've got a bunch of Hall of Famers going up against some guys who don't seem to want to play, and you're getting touchdowns real easily.
And Aubrey hits the extra point. That Cowboys offensive line was fabulous, setting up Smith for the goal line touchdown. Glad you're with us in a showdown between two outstanding franchises with a combined 7 Super Bowl titles, 56 playoff wins, and two of the most successful franchises by way of Hall of Fame players in the National Football League. Another one of the great Hall of Famers in the game's rich history is Dan Marino, 62.5% completions, 1,959 yards with 15 touchdowns and 5 picks. He has the number 5 passer rating in football and the third most touchdowns this year. Many people peg Marino as the greatest thrower of the football in NFL history. Morris on the call, and he is buried in the backfield by a blitzing Cliff Harris. The Miami offense, let's check out their starters today. Tyreek Hill and Paul Warfield are at receiver. Keith Jackson is their lead tight end, with Mercury Morris joining Larry Zonka in the backfield.
This is a battle between two kind of dynasties of the 1970s, where both teams were doing really well in that decade.
Over the middle, Marino finds Jackson, the tight end's 35th reception of the year. A good gain on second down. DeMarcus Ware, Bob Lilly, Deion Sanders, Randy White, and Cliff Harris, just a few of the many phenomenal players on this Dallas defense. The Cowboys, to no surprise, are in the top half of the league in yards allowed and number 3 in rushing yards allowed. A fabulous front 7 that Marino and company fend with today. Marino throws outside of Jackson, pressure coming immediately, and the Dolphins go 3 and out.
But it didn't seem like there was that much pressure. It seemed like Marino could have held that ball for a little bit longer to find a receiver open, but it just feels like maybe that's some ghost pressure in his face.
Hayes on the return. And he picks up a couple on that play. It seemed as though Staubach was throwing against Ghost on that last drive, putting together a very quick touchdown drive. Just 3 plays, and the Cowboys went 80 yards on that possession. They'll begin their second drive on another straight drop from Staubach. He fires deep down the field. There's Michael Irvin in stride of the 50. This Dolphins defense is getting cut to shreds, Hank. Another first down.
This is like when you're playing practice mode in a video game and the defense isn't there and you're like, I'm just going to find my wide open receiver because nobody's covering him.
And that man no one was covering is none other than the Hall of Famer out of Miami, Michael Irvin. Draw to Smith, who was his teammate during the dynastic 90s for Dallas, a gain of 9 on the play. The Cowboys offense features the Hall of Fame trio of pass catchers of Michael Irvin, Jason Witten, and Bob Hayes. Don Perkins, a Hall of Fame fullback, and number 22, Emmitt Smith, the NFL's all-time leading rusher in carries, yards, and touchdowns, Hall of Famer from Florida, in the backfield from Staubach. And you'll get the call on a second down, more than enough for a Cowboys first. Anderson wraps him up at the 15.
Yeah, it seems like the Dolphins line and linebackers are just undersized, and the Cowboys offensive line is just mean and dominating.
Tony Dorsett on a stretch run. A gain of 2 with Offerdahl on the stop. Let's look at the NFC playoff picture. Green Bay enjoys a massive lead over the rest of the competition. San Francisco on the bottom leads the NFC West. Dallas is in first out of this division, and Tampa Bay leads the struggling NFC South at 5-5 overall. Second down, Staubach lobs it to the corner, and that is tipped away by a leaping Brent Grimes. Incomplete. Now to the division standing specifically. Dallas in front over Philadelphia and New York in what is a very tight NFC East, and not too big of a surprise considering the championship franchises in that entire division. On third down, Staubach throws. That is reeled in by Irvin to the end zone, but incomplete. Fourth down coming up.
Looks like the sideline and the back line is playing a better defense than the Miami Dolphins defense.
Aikman the hold, and the kick is good. And that has to be a little sigh of relief for the defense, which was embarrassed in this first quarter. A 10-0 lead for the Cowboys with still 2.5 minutes to go in an entertaining first quarter. Mercury Morris gets under the ball about 5 yards in the end zone and downs the ball for the touchback. Now, the Cowboys are loaded with Hall of Fame players, Hank, but Dan Marino, number 13, might be the greatest player on the field today. He retired in 1999 as the NFL's all-time leader in passing yards and passing touchdowns. He gets some help with Morris on the toss, a gain of 9 on the play.
Dan Marino was a very good quarterback in the NFL. Obviously, he's a Hall of Famer, and many, like you said, believe that he is the greatest passer in NFL history. But the biggest issue with Dan Marino was the fact that after his only Super Bowl appearance, he was just unable to sustain the level of play that a champion would need. They just completely fell off. And I think there were years where there were a lot of contract negotiations, whether or not he was going to stay in Miami. A few coaching changes. They obviously lost Don Shula, and they got Jimmy Johnson. They were always a competitive team, but they really struggled to win playoff games in the 90s.
Marino completes the deep ball to Jackson for the first down. Dan Marino, considering his remarkable run in 1984, regular season and playoffs, hard to measure him as any less than top 3, top 5 greatest passing season of all time. But his Dolphins could not do much after that. We've played a quarter, 10-0 Dallas in what is a blowout early from Arlington. This is Thanksgiving of the all-time rosters franchise. Welcome back, Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon. We're talking Dan Marino, and he was just 8-10 in his playoff history, considering he had Don Shula at head coach, a terrific duo of receivers in the Marks brothers. Very disappointing that he wasn't able to return to the big game. Marino is sacked by Lilly, a loss of 8 on the play.
You got to have better awareness there. Throw the ball away, live to see another down. get to 3rd and 1. Now you're at 3rd and 9, and it's much longer to get the first down.
Plenty of time, so he's going deep down the field. This is Paul Warfield, the target, and it is tipped away. Everson Walls, a phenomenal cover corner out of Grambling State, all-pro in the early 80s for this Dallas defense. One of the many great defensive backs of this franchise. He was there to tip it away. This punt from Brandon Fields sails inside the 10 and rolls into the end zone. Not by much, but it's a touchback. And that red-hot Cowboy offense has the ball back, leading by 10. Jason Witten, the motion man. And they'll begin their third drive with another deep drop out of Staubach. Plenty of time yet again. He throws, and that is dropped by Irvin. Incomplete.
Yeah, and I bet the Miami defenders are like wagging their fingers right there, thinking that they actually caused that pass to be incomplete.
Yeah, typical defensive backs. The pass over the middle, no wagging for the defense this time. A check down to Smith turns into a game of 19. And Hank, Miami's got to be embarrassed by their defensive effort today. The Cowboys are nearing 200 yards, and we have plenty of time before halftime.
Yeah, it seems like Dallas is out-scheming Miami and doing a really great job getting open receivers.
Including Bob Bullitt, a 13-yard pickup to Hayes, and another first down.
And the Cowboys just continue to march down the field because Miami doesn't have any response to any of these plays. They really need to start making adjustments.
Smith wrapped up by Scott at the 41-yard line. This is a very talented Miami defense, headlined by 3 Hall of Famers: Jason Taylor at outside linebacker, Nick Buonacani, and Zach Thomas at middle linebacker, and many outstanding DBs as well. Staubach fires and is nearly picked off. That was Jeremiah Bell who nearly took it away.
Yeah, you got to intercept the ball like that because Dallas now has another chance to get a first down, and a turnover would have been nice and neat for Miami.
Jump ball to Witten, and that is incomplete.
That was a great job covering, and Brandon Aubrey's field goal range is space.
Sure is. 58 yards from Aubrey, and that kick is high enough, long enough, and it is good. Brandon Aubrey. Brandon Aubrey has the greatest field goal percentage of kicks from 50 yards or more in NFL history. Incredible career, an incredible story as a former soccer player at Notre Dame, acquired as an undrafted free agent and turned into one of the greatest players at his position of all time. What an incredible find he was for the Dallas Cowboys. As mentioned, 89% in his career of kicks beyond 50. Unprecedented leg strength and accuracy from Aubrey. Morris on the call, picks up 6 to begin this Dolphin drive.
It's amazing that nobody was like, maybe you should play kicker for the National Football League, or maybe you should play kicker in college. No, they were like, who are you? And then he plays amazingly, and then they're like, oh, well, we should have recognized you. We feel like not so smart people.
I do believe there were also not so smart people who waited till the 5th round before looking at Tyreek Hill, who was a legendary Chief and had a season record-breaking year with the Dolphins in 2023. Screen pass to Mercury Morris, 32-yard gain, and that's got to feel good for Marino as the Dolphins are in Dallas territory for the first time today.
Great screen by Morris. The offensive line got right in front of him, and he was able to evade Cowboys players. Getting back to Tyreek Hill, didn't he have off-the-field issues in college, which was why no one wanted to draft him?
Not a bad point, I got to tell you. Well, this guy had a glistening off-the-field report, Micah Parsons, and he is shaken up for the Cowboys. And we'll give you a status update on him as soon as we can. But for the moment, Micah Parsons leaves the game at linebacker. Sean Lee will take his spot at the number 2 position, and Morris runs right through that defense for another first down.
This seems like a good drive for the Miami Dolphins. They just can't make any mistakes, and they can't take any negative plays.
Late in the first half, they'll keep it on the ground with Morris, who is spilled at the 20-yard line. A decorated 7-year stint with the Dolphins where he averaged a little over 5 yards a run, a Dolphins record. He'll take a break. Will Morris? Ronnie Brown in at tailback. He'll get the call and is stuffed immediately by both Jones and Howley. We've got another man down. Jake Long, an offensive tackle, out of the game on this 3rd and 3. With 3 tight ends, Marino throws to one of them. That's Larry Zonka, who split out to his right, and he's got the first down.
That's not a bad guy to throw to in the flats when you need extra yards.
Just his 12th catch of the year, and it sets up 1st and goal. Draw, and Morris had no chance. Harvey Martin was there defensively. 2nd and goal coming up. The Dolphins are perfect this season in red zone offense. Marino throws, and that's incomplete, out of the hands of linebacker Leroy Jordan.
You almost did that announcer's jinx with them if that was an interception. That would have been not so good.
Sure did. 3rd and goal, and Marino is denied. So the Cowboys and their lead coach, Tom Landry. Jimmy Johnson had a case to be the greatest coach in Cowboy history, but Tom Landry got the nod. And after his timeout, the field goal is good, and the Dolphins crack the scoreboard for the first time today.
What was it? Chris Berman oftentimes would call him Amare. Orlando Amare. That's Amare.
What an incredible kicker he was in the early 2000s. Chris Berman had about a decade to put the Orlando Mare on one of the best of his era in Orlando Mare. After his field goal, here come the Cowboys with Irvin, his 3rd grab of the day, and another big one for the Cowboy first down.
Yep, that's Dallas having their way completely with the Miami Dolphins. Almost no response other than a few drops and a ball that goes out of the end zone.
2nd down and 7 yards to go. Staubach gets rid of it to Smith. Not a bad idea as he's got the first down. And this Dolphin defense, I mean, they are getting absolutely shredded. They've got to figure out a way to put something together defensively in the second half. That halftime locker room may be very heated, Hank, as Staubach launches into traffic, and that is tipped away from Pearson, maybe even dropped incomplete.
Yeah, I mean, for the Cowboys on that one, they're just glad to have the clock stop so that they can take a breath and maybe make another big play.
They've had plenty of them today. Owens in the slot for this offense. Staubach hit as he throws, finds his former teammate in Super Bowl champion Drew Pearson. Just another one of the many Hall of Fame receivers on this offense. Owens, Hayes, Irvin, and the Hall of Famer from Tulsa in Drew Pearson. Staubach's got plenty of room. He can do this too and slides in front of Thomas. First down. And the Cowboys exhaust their final timeout.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to need that timeout or not, but they're just looking to get more points on the board.
Pass over the middle complete to Witten. Cowboys are perfect in the red zone, but they are getting a little lackadaisical here inside of the 20-yard line. In fact, Staubach will clock it with 10 seconds left in the first half. Interesting decision. They were a little too conservative for many liking, including my own, and they'll settle for the field goal. Aubrey from 36, and that's money for Aubrey. Cowboys lead the Dolphins by 13.
Yeah, I mean, without any timeouts, you might be just looking to clock it to kick a field goal.
Scott on the return, and Jake Scott is taken down to the 24-yard line. Well, statistically, it certainly looks a lot worse than the scoreboard. The Cowboys have settled for 2 red zone field goals, and our lead at halftime is 16-3. The second half on Thanksgiving coming up right after this. It's the Cowboys 16 and the Dolphins 3. Welcome back. Dome is closed inside of Cowboy Stadium in Arlington. The Cowboys outgained the Dolphins by 136 yards in that first half. Some explosive plays out of Staubach and Irvin, and they lead the Dolphins 16-3.
Yeah, it's almost like the Miami Dolphins defense was temporarily blinded by the sunlight of Cowboy Stadium because they couldn't stop anything.
It really is an incredible architecture at Cowboy Stadium, with the exception of that random glare that comes out of the end zone. But here in Madden 12, none of that. Marino goes deep, and he's got the speedster out of Ohio State, and he dropped it. Incomplete to Warfield.
That's a catch that Paul Warfield has to make. Your team is down by 13 points, and you need a big play. That's just a missed opportunity.
Gut run to Morris, and he powers his way to the 37. A critical conversion. The Dolphins were 1 for their first 4 on third downs before picking that one up with the 3-time Pro Bowler out of West Texas A&M, and the 2-time Super Bowl champ. Another run, and Morris is spun down by Jordan on a gain of 4. The 4th tackle of the day for Jordan, who is in for the injured Micah Parsons. One of the great linebackers of the 2020s broke his jaw and will miss the remainder of the game. Lucky, though, for the Cowboys, they've got plenty of Hall of Fame linebackers to fill his shoes. Marino guns it to Warfield, and he's got the football and a gain of 12. 90 yards today for Marino, but that's a certainly pass that's got to make him feel pretty good out there as the Dolphins are in Dallas territory. Straight ahead run, Larry Zonka with a block out of McMichael is down to the 36. We've got an injured Cowboy. Cliff Harris is down, but it's a first down for Miami.
It seems like the only thing the Miami Dolphins have been good at in this game are injuring the Cowboys defense, but that's not how you're going to win this game because of how much depth this team has and all of the great players and Hall of Fame players in the history of this organization.
Morris cuts it to his left and gains a couple on the play. Hall of Fame players for the Cowboy defense: Mel Renfro, Deion Sanders, Cliff Harris, Randy White, Chuck Howley, Bob Lilly, DeMarcus Ware, and Charles Haley. One of the most talented defenses you'll ever see in the all-time franchise. Outcut to Duper, a gain of 12. The third down conversion for this offense. Second in a row, as you saw on the bottom. An outstanding drive delivered by Dan Marino. At the 21, they'll go ground. Zonka turns what could have been a disaster from Ware into just a 1-yard loss. Second down coming up.
Yeah, the Cowboys have so many amazing Hall of Famers, probably second only to the Pittsburgh Steelers on defense. But again, the way that they played in the first half was amazing.
And with the great defensive talent, it's got to feel pretty good for that unit that they also got a big boost out of Irvin, Staubach, and the offensive stars for Dallas. Dolphins 3 of 6 on third down today and make it 3 of 7. As number 41, Charlie Waters, a 3-time Pro Bowler out of Clemson and a 2-time Super Bowl champion, is there to make the defensive play. Olindo Mare, a 36-yarder after the false start.
False start, offense, repeat, 4th down.
Yeah, but he should still make this one. It is inconsequential, that false start penalty.
Out of the hold of Bob Greasy, a 36-yard field goal is good with room to spare for Mare. He is 13 of 14 on field goals this year. And while the Cowboys have all the numbers, it is the Dolphins who are still in the game. It is 16-6. And here comes Hayes after the long field goal drive from Miami. Hayes sheds a tackle, and it is the kicker that saved a potential touchdown. Brandon Fields with an outstanding stop.
Yeah, but you got to blame the Cowboys' red zone offense. That one touchdown they had at the beginning was phenomenal, but they've just been – that's probably the worst part of their offense. They haven't been able to get it done on offense in the red zone.
Remember that dynastic run of the 70s? Defensive tackle Manny Fernandez has the defense's first sack of the game, 35th of the year. That's second in the league to the Rams. Staubach completes to Hayes, who lost a fumble, and Anderson recovers. He gets a block and is down inside the 30. A disastrous fumble from number 25, Bob Hayes.
Maybe Miami's strategy on defense was just to let Cowboys receivers catch the ball and just square them up and just pound them over the middle. Hopefully you could get a fumble. That was successful.
1973 Defensive Player of the Year, Dick Anderson, with a bone-jarring hit for the defense. And after his critical takeaway, the Dolphins will go up against the defense in Dallas that's got to be exhausted. They have been on the field here for most of the last two quarters. Larry Zonka on the call, and he motors to the 18. As mentioned, Miami is perfect in the red zone this season. 21 for 21 and 2 for 2 today, but both are field goals. Third and short, lean on the fullback, Larry Zonka. That is a great idea. Gain of 6 on a first down.
Yeah, Larry Zonka is the big player that the Miami Dolphins need, because if you get a hole up the middle, he's going to take it about 4 or 5 yards.
Mercury Morris dances in the hole and is down to the 8. Ricky Williams was the lead tote getter in this offense during the first month and a half of the season, but then herniated a disc in his back. So it's been Morris, Zonka, and Ronnie Brown who've been the tote getters. Here's Brown for his second run, and that goes nowhere. Fourth quarter coming up next. It's Thanksgiving from Dallas, and the Cowboys lead the Dolphins 16-6. All-time Miami Dolphins, two-time Super Bowl champions and winners of 55% of their games, an outstanding franchise. Third down, they're going to the end zone, and Marino finds Jackson. Touchdown, Miami.
Yeah, Miami caught the Dallas Cowboys playing in man. Linebacker was unable to make that coverage play, and Keith Jackson just storms into the end zone. That was the big play the Dolphins needed.
Extra point is good. Keith Jackson, who was a Pro Bowl tight end for the Eagles, a Super Bowl champion for the Packers, and a great player for the Dolphins, finds the end zone for Miami. 4 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown. That is Jackson's 4th touchdown grab of the season. Hayes on a hop from the 5-yard line. Returns to the 24. Taken down by Buonacane with 7:52 to go in the game. Roger Staubach with an outstanding performance today. He is 11 of 17 for 193 yards, but the turnover from Hayes makes this a game again. He's back and unloads to Smith, who dropped the football incomplete.
Really feels like this score should be like 24-13 at this point. Just feels like the Dallas Cowboys have been dominating, but they've missed a lot of red zone opportunities.
Staubach throws. He's picked off by Xavier Howard to the 20, and he's gone. Touchdown, Miami.
I don't even know why you throw that pass. He wasn't open. It was a big crowding of the line. There was the blocker up front did absolutely nothing to get in his face. That was just like, hey, I'm going to intercept that pass, and I'm just going to pass you through to the end zone.
Xavier Howard with his second interception of the year and his first return for a touchdown. An outstanding player during the 2020s. In fact, in 2020, his 10 picks tied a franchise record. He also led the league in deflections with 20. A phenomenal player from Miami for nearly a decade. and steps in front of the questionable decision on the pass from Staubach for the INT. Back-to-back turnovers to end Cowboy drives, and they trail by 4. This pass is complete to Owens for the gain of 3.
And it's not even like Miami's playing the Cowboys any differently. It's just that interception was not very smart at all. It didn't even have to get thrown.
And that is the 10th pick from Roger Staubach, who suffers another drop from Smith, incomplete. And for Roger Staubach, he was a pretty reliable football player at quarterback for them, helping guide the Cowboys to a couple of Super Bowls in the 70s. Certainly strange to see the mistakes he's made in the second half. On third down, he throws short to Pearson, who moves the chains, a gain of 11 on the catch.
Great play there as Dolphins defenders get completely cleared out, and he finds him wide open over the middle on a sort of a drag or an in route, and is able to get that first down easily.
Look at the numbers of Roger Staubach, 208 yards and an interception today, and he is immediately under pressure. Manny Fernandez brings him down.
Screen play to the running back, didn't set up fast enough, and he had nowhere to go with the ball.
Second down and 18. Staubach launching it. Certainly plenty of coverage was there, and it's incomplete to Irvin. The Dolphins, Xavier Howard with outstanding coverage. Howard joins Jake Scott, Patrick Surtain, Dick Anderson, Rashad Jones, Sam Madison, Brock Marion, and Will Allen as the defensive backs for this group. Another sack for that defense. It's Doug Betters who brings them down.
Seems like there's a morale issue on the Cowboys because the receivers were dropping a lot of passes, and now that seems to be affecting the quarterback as he's unable to complete them, unable to make them, and when he makes a pass, it's an interception or a drop.
Return of 7 from Jake Scott, and it really is amazing to look at the Dolphin defense, which couldn't lay a hand on Staubach in the first half, rack up 3 sacks since. Morris gains 2 on the ground.
It just goes to show how much morale matters in football, because you can take it away at any instance and just do whatever you want with it if you are the recipient.
This guy's got to have plenty of morale, especially with Marino throwing him the football. Tight end Keith Jackson, a first-round pick by the Eagles back in 1988. First down. Marino with another deep drop. His 17th attempt of the game, and that was his weirdest one, hitting the helmet of Jackson. Incomplete.
Yeah, it was looking like he wanted a screen there, but the screen was completely covered up, and luckily the defender didn't have any hands.
The tackle today from Leroy Jordan. The Dolphins were 1 for 4 on third down early in the game. They are 4 for their next 5. Wildcat, this is the 4th string running back who takes the snap. Reggie Bush hands to Ronnie Brown, and down he goes.
I don't think that ever happened in NFL history where Ronnie Brown and Reggie Bush were in the same backfield, but it's like these two guys were so dynamic that you're like, yeah, you know, that may have happened once in the NFL.
50-yard field goal, and Alinda Amare hits it.
That's Amare.
And you nailed it right on the head as Amare, with a good hold from Greasy, hits the long field goal. Reggie Bush was signed in 2011 after they departed from Ronnie Brown, and Bush had a career year in 2011 for the Dolphins with nearly 1,100 yards. Des Bryant, whose best days were with this Dallas franchise in the early 2010s, he gets his first touch of the day and is down to the 22.
Didn't the Cowboys also have a season where he had like -3 yards in a season?
Yeah, no, he had a pretty brutal 2012, but in 2011 he was really good, to your point. Play fake from Staubach, and he guns it to Casper the Ghost, incomplete.
Yeah, it seems like this first quarter Cowboys team is just gone. Like it's almost like they don't even know what they're doing.
Staubach unloads to Pearson, who makes the catch and gets leveled. To your point, the Dolphins have taken some big shots into these Cowboy pass catchers, and certainly for Pearson, it's amazing he's still in the game. 2 minutes left in the fourth. Cowboys need a touchdown to tie it up, and there's a good start. Bob Hayes with the catch, and Sam Madison is down. So after the quick injury timeout, Miami having to use one of their clock stoppages, the Cowboys have 1st and 10. 4-man rush as he fires to Smith underneath, down to the 34-yard line. The Cowboys, they, by this point, really have got to punch it in here as they're running out of time. 2nd down, deep ball to Hayes, and he dropped it, and Hayes is hurt.
Yeah, just yet again, all the Dolphins seem to be able to do is injure Cowboys players. And that should have been a catch, but, you could say that could have been a hospital ball.
Sure was. Witten on the outcut. He's got a 1st down to the 27. Sam Madison has returned from injury, so the Dolphins' secondary is whole once again, with the exception of Surtain. He broke his collarbone a few weeks ago and is out today. Still a very talented secondary, and Staubach starting to find his mojo. Deep ball, and he nearly is intercepted off the hands of Allen.
Nearly intercepted off of 2 different guys. You got to have that in your hand because you know that they'll have another opportunity here.
4-man rush, make it 5. Staubach unloads into traffic, and he is nearly picked off once again by Howard. Staubach in the second half not only looks flustered, he just looks reckless out there. And on 3rd down, he's got to make a play. 1:22 to go. Cowboys down 7. Staubach fires, and there is Smith with captain comeback delivering a beauty over the middle. A 1st down to the 16. Fernandez was offsides. Staubach with plenty of time launches in the end zone. Incomplete to Witten.
Offside defense.
But the Fernandez penalty sets up 1st and 5.
1st down.
I feel like you got to let them get across. I think the referee's got to be able to stop the offense there before they snap it so that he can get over.
It is just the 2nd penalty of the day, both against Miami. Staubach fires into the end zone for Owens. Touchdown, Dallas.
Oh, that's just so reckless by the safety. Just letting T.O. go right by you. I mean, what did you think was going to happen there? You got to be able to cover him.
That was Jeremiah Bell trying to jump at the short pattern, and the long pattern to Owens is complete with plenty of room in the back line of the end zone. Well, the Cowboys certainly did it to themselves with the turnovers in the 3rd quarter, but a touchdown in the 4th ties the game at 23. And T.O. with his 2nd catch, biggest of the day, to tie the game. A good one on Thanksgiving, a rematch of Super Bowl VI played in New Orleans, won by the Cowboys in a blowout. Not the same story here. Lamb with the tackle. Well, Dan Marino did struggle in the playoffs in these sort of situations with the ball and a chance to win in advance. We'll see if he can do it here, but the Hall of Fame quarterback is more than capable of a game-winning drive. Time running out as Marino launches down the field here. And that is swatted away by the defense. The deflection from Mel Renfro.
Yeah, it's just kind of amazing to see this game is so close with how amazing the Cowboys were in the first half. But it just goes to show that you need to capitalize in the red zone because field goals sometimes won't help you win games.
Here's a look at that Morris run. And for Miami, they only need a field goal in order to win this football game today. They've got to feel pretty good if they convert this. Straight ahead run, and Morris is denied. Leroy Jordan makes the stop. The Cowboys have a chance to win the game here as they call timeout. Fields to kick it, and Hayes deep to return. He makes the catch at the 38-yard line and brings it back to the 45. Roger Staubach certainly looked much more comfortable on that last drive. And for Brandon Aubrey, a look at his numbers, just one miss all year, and he drilled his third kick from 50-plus in the first half of this game. That pass down the field is tipped and incomplete, intended for Pearson. So for Brandon Aubrey, if they pick up one first down, I think that's all they need to enter field goal range. Staubach steps up in the pocket, fires down the field, and that is incomplete. Not much of a chance to Witten.
Yeah, they've been throwing towards the sidelines, double covered. They need to find a guy wide open in order to get this one off.
And the only guy wide open was a cameraman on the sideline. It appears an anticlimactic end to regulation here as Matt McBriar is in for his second punt. An undrafted free agent out of Hawaii in 2004, turned into one of the best punters in the league for the next 8 years, all with downs.
Yeah, I think one time he played for the Eagles.
Yeah, it was an outstanding career, largely with Dallas, but like you said, a little bit of a journeyman to close his tenure. They'll go ground with Morris, and that may be the final play of regulation, as the tackle is made by Randy White. Indeed, we're headed to overtime in Arlington, 23-23. In Super Bowl VI, Roger Staubach and the Cowboys embarrassed Miami. 24-3 was the final score in the Super Bowl. The first of 5 championships for this franchise. Certainly a much different football game. It appeared, Hank, we were heading to 24-3 until the Dolphins showed up on both sides. 2 takeaways from the defense. Dan Marino with the late touchdown to Jackson on offense. And after a late Cowboy comeback, we're headed to OT. Over the middle, Pearson for 12 and a first down.
And the real thing the Cowboys need to make sure that they do is keep the ball. Make sure that you're not turning this thing over, because a turnover could make this absolutely disastrous.
Emmitt Smith with a 16-yard run on the first down. To your point of the Cowboys playing keep away, that is their 18th first down of the game. And the Cowboys are third in football in first down pickups. They've been outstanding on offense, including another first down. Jason Witten over the middle to the 38.
The real issue with the Cowboys in this game is they gave up running the football when it didn't even make sense to stop running the football. You have Emmitt Smith, one of the best running backs in NFL history.
Yeah, to have him carry the ball just 7 times, you look at the rushing average, Hank, really, like you said, unfortunate they've waited so long, but now the Cowboys are in field goal range, so Smith may be the option here. Indeed, he is on a second down, and he is stuffed immediately by Scott.
Number 22, the ball carrier on the play. No gain.
Now, the Cowboys are 50% on third down. They are the second best third down offense overall this year. They'll run it with Dorsett, who's denied, but nonetheless, they are certainly within range for Aubrey, and indeed from 49, after making a 58-yarder earlier, this a chip shot for him between the hashes to win the game, and Aubrey blows it wide left, and the game goes on.
Is no good.
How do you make a 58-yard, 59-yard field goal, but you miss a 49-yarder? That doesn't make any sense to me. He just shanked it there.
And that one was not even close. What an amazing turn of events we have here. Next score wins. Morris on the call. Spilled by Cliff Harris. 21 carries for Mercury Morris and 7 for Emmitt Smith. The narrative developing certainly has to be the Cowboys' reluctance to carry the football today. Morris with another run and another first down.
And you notice on that third down play, they switched to Dorsett. They didn't even have Smith on the field on that third down play.
Wildcat formation once again. Zonka's the motion man, and he couldn't quite find the angle. A run for no gain. Well, the all-time Dolphins, this would be their third win in a row if they figure out a way to close this drive with points. Meanwhile, Dallas came into the today winners of 5 in a row and was a shank away from winning it a moment ago with Aubrey. 3rd down and 7 with 2.5 to play in overtime. A riveting back-and-forth battle in which the Cowboys led early 16-3. What a comeback by Miami. Morris off tackle. Loaders of the 27 where Ware makes the stop.
And I mean, you just can't shank this if you're Mare.
Mare has missed just one field goal all year. This one from 44 out of the hold of Greasy. It's long enough, and it is good from Mare, and the Dolphins come back to win it on the road, 26-23 in overtime.
This is like that Leon Lett game between the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys back in the 90s.
Good point. Yeah. What a heartbreak for the all-time Cowboys. For the rest of our crew and Hank Cinnamon as well, I'm Nick Rice. So long from Arlington. This is the All-Time Rosters franchise with Charger 95.